Peace, peace, peace. This is Creek Running Water coming at you with just another good build. High vibrations to the family. Peace to the gods. You here, I'm here, and the ancestors, we here. And even though we done been through some treacherous situations, we're still here. Now, we about to jump in. I know y'all see that title. Y'all already know what it is. I'm going to play some music. Wait for the chat to build up. And we're going to go in. Stay tuned. So they just designated themselves in just one area. Ain't none of them up here. There's a bunch of y'all Negroes with these chink eyes. Look at yourself. I'm talking about you. You got Mongolian in you too. Okay. So, you know, hey.
Many of our patients don't want to be on the phone. They want to be texting on their own time. Claire allows us to communicate digitally with patients. My name is Bertie.
Get slang like Carol if you play with my cane. Got the heart of a hustler, but a G in my brain. Trill nigga like pimpin', I'm a hog in the game. Sunny sleep, storm, rain, I'ma ride my swing. Trill nigga like pimpin', I'm a hog in the game. Sunny sleep, storm, rain, I'ma ride my swing. Trill nigga like pimpin', I'm a hog in the game. Sunny sleep, storm, rain, I'ma ride my swings. It's deuces out the roof if it ain't by no change. And from Maine to Spain, dames know my name. Make it stay straight while your pockets look queer. All I see is the money like, nigga, look here. And I keep the block smoking like a nigga cook here. I'm born and raised to be a mean it to society. Born and raised to be a mean it to society. Born and raised to be a mean it to society. Born and raised to be a mean it to society. Born and raised to be a mean it to society. Born and raised to be a must be the way I dress, how I look so clean, don't I stay so fresh? I guess that's why my dick under your whole dress. Laid on my headrest, getting brain like chess. Why you handcuff the bitch like she under arrest? More money, more problems, got me so stressed. Don't know what I'm about or what I'm gonna go next. The bottom two pack, the top my best bet. So if it ain't about a check, count me out that. But if the money is the topic, I am so about that. Never ever been a hater, I am so not that. I'm born and raised to be a G, my nigga, you got that. Killer. Born and raised to be a G, mean it to society. Born and raised to be a G, mean it to society. Born and raised to be a G, mean it to society. Born and raised to be a G, mean it to society. Born and raised to be a G, mean it to society. Born and raised to be a G, mean it to society. Born and raised to be a G, mean it to society. Born and raised to be a G, mean it to society.
Yo. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving and grooving. We just wait for the chat to build up. Play a few videos. Y'all already know what it is.
Shut up.
First things first, I pop them. Freaks all the honeys, dummies, playboy bunnies, those wanting money. Those the ones I like, cause they don't get Nathan but penetration. Unless it smells like sanitation. Garbage, I turn like doorknobs. Heart throb never, black and ugly as ever. However, I stay Gucci down to the socks. Rings and watch filled with rocks. And my jam knocking your Mitsubishi. Girls pee-pee when they see me. Navajos creep me in they teepee. As I lay down laws like Island Coppet. Stop it, if you think they're gonna make a profit. Don't see my ones, don't see my guns. Get it? Now tell your friends Papa hit it. Then split it in two. As I flow with the Junior Mafia. I don't know what the hell's stopping ya. I'm clocking ya, Versace shade watching ya. Once the grin, I'm in, game begins. First I talk about how I dress is this and diamond necklaces, stretch Lexus is the sex is just immaculate. From the back I get deeper and deeper, help you reach the climax that your man can't make. Call him, tell him you be home real late and sing the break. I got that good love, girl, you didn't know. I got that good love, girl, you didn't know. Think of that song on how it's so long. Thought he worked his until I handled my biz. There I is, major pain like Damon Wayans. Low down dirty even like his brother Keenan scheming. Don't leave your girl around me, true player for real. Ask Puff Dad D. You ringing bells with bags from Chanel. Baby Benz traded in your Hyundai XL. Fully equipped CD changer with the cell. She beat me at 12. Where you at? Flipping jaw, playing car notes. While I'm swimming in your women like the breaststroke. Right stroke, left stroke was the best stroke. Death stroke, tongue all down the throat. Nothing left to do but send her home to you. I'm through. Can you sing the song for me, boo? I got that good love, girl, you didn't know. I got that good love, girl, you didn't know. So what's it gonna be, him or me? We can cruise the world with pearls, gator boots for girls. The envy of all women, crushed linen, Cartier wristwear with diamonds in them. The finest women I love with the passion. Your man's a wimp, I get that ass a good thrashing. High fashion, flying into all states. Sexing me while your man masturbates. Isn't this great? Your flight leaves at 8, my flight lands at 9. My game just rewinds. Lyrically, I'm supposed to represent. I'm not only a client, I'm the player president. I got that good love, girl, you didn't know. I got that good love, girl, you didn't know. I used to get feels on the bitch.
Yo, this is Creek Running Water. We're going to wait for the chat to build up.
Sometimes find the
keep it
fear
moving and
of what
grooving a
could
little bit.
happen is making nothing happen in your
You know what I'm
life.
saying? Peace to the
So
guys
I
that
want
got
to
us
come
on the
down
platform.
here with
Play
me and I want
one
to
or
show
two more
you
videos and we
basically
go
a
in.
very powerful methodology that allowed me to free myself from myself, because I spent most of my childhood being bullied every single day. I went through so much bullshit, especially with my father leaving me at the age of 2. I developed such a sabotaging beliefs about myself, and that was what was making me fear everything in life. And I never took risks until my mentor shared with me this diagram, this methodology.
Sorry, you get back. Hey, you need to holler at your boy, man. You know and it don't stop, so keep it going. 1994 when the bitches get.
I'ma let y'all fools know. It don't stop until I put my bank on fat, me go broke. Nigga, how could you picture that? It's no joke. This ain't no fly by night thing, just another hype Look, the B to the I to the G to the M to the I to the K to the E was there to step all over your ass if you let me sweat me. Never will you niggas come close. I'm up in the motherfucking house, so won't you get ghost, nigga, like that? Push, you're gone. Oh, I thought you knew it was on. The P-E-T-E-R-A-M-A-N. It's fucking up the scenery, so run and tell a friend. Once again, never blend, but I roll through your set. Got that heat for your ass, A-dog, left your homeboy wet. Dripping sweat from my cold ass black skin. Putting motherfuckers on their back just for asking. Who is Big Mike? Who is Peter Man? Still that gangsta ass nigga nobody can understand. Fool, I'm something serious too. Yeah. Featherweight. Come here, folks. I consider myself a joint, and everybody wanna take a hit. Then another hit till I got 'em lit. Reclining on the couch, blowing smoke out the nose and mouth. And like a rose, I simply fades out. Leaving the fiend and not believing what they saying. They be asking, is this nigga real or am I fucking dreaming? But you ain't dreaming, you fucking with that potent killer, nigga. So take it like when you be talking, ain't no choking. Cause every time you hit me, I'm smooth, feeling cool. Got your ass in that gangster mood. Like you rewind, step back through time. Feeling like a pimpin', now you wanna keep your bitches in line. Got your ass feeling wonderful. Reaching into your bag, grabbing a zag, then you rolling up another one, fool. Cause I'm serving that shit that's making you niggas aggravated. Something serious, I know you hate it. Yeah, like that. 9 quad. Ha. Fool. So serious. It's a motherfucking murder when you heard of a nigga like me on the flowing spree, fucking up son of a bitches mentally. Get the spoon ready, cause mama got the soup on. I'm shopping for bodies and I ain't even got a coupon. It's the Peter man, niggas will never understand. I was born with this mic attached to my fucking hand, so that means I was an MC since birth. Blessed to take over the Southwest. I got my hand on the trigger and ready to pull it. Any son of a bitch who crosses me bites the bullet. My opposition is small, my niggas are thick. I'm known for putting out hits on these motherfucking tricks. So wanna get your motherfucking crew before I hurt you. Cause like I said before, this is a motherfucking murder. And I'ma keep a murdering, yes, I keep a murdering. Lick shot, until I hit your blood clot, yeah. Cause you're dealing with something serious. So run and get your crew while you're hearing this, fool. Yeah, make a move, and watch this motherfucker showing through. It's kinda freaky, yeah, I'm something serious. Yeah, what's up, Southside?
This is Webflow Interactions, the only tool that brings all the animation power of CSS and JavaScript into a completely visual canvas. Easily create scroll-based parallax animations. Time motion to scroll progress.
Let me get this pick. Yeah. All going short. Shit on it.
With the top down, screaming like, hey, oh. I'ma take her ass down. She bring her friend around, fuck 'em both like. hey, this my new shit. I'm the black bitchy bitch with the roof missing. If it don't make dollars, don't make sense. Z, wake up like I gotta get it. And I got an engine for a trunk space. I get money 3 ways, fucking bitches 3 ways. 7 different formats, plus she's no oblate. But I make that bitch walk with some cheesecake. Yeah, I'm the coldest nigga I see. Looking in the mirror like I wish I can be me. She too into me, I'm more into money. My hobbies are body, that pussy's my lobby. I'ma eat it, I'ma eat it. I don't lie, on my dick too conceited. I told her she my wife for the weekend. But don't be acting like I need you, cause we poppin' like, yeah.
All my bitches got real hair, chillin' with the top down, screaming like, hey, oh. I'ma take her ass down, she bring her friend around, fuck them both like, hey, oh. I'm a bougie ass nigga, left the roof at home.
We poppin' like, hey, oh, hey, we poppin' like,
hey, but don't be acting like I need you. I'm in the rose, you don't roll right. My chain shine brighter than a strobe light. I'm tryna fuck Coco, this don't concern ice. If I motorboat, she gon' motorbike. A nigga ain't worried about nothing. Rehabilitation just had me worried about fucking. Money decision making, only worried about stunning. She worried about me, her nigga worried about cuffing. I wanna see her body. Then she said, get inside of me. I wanna feel you, baby. Just bring the animal right out of me. We loving, she love it. Especially when I go down on her. Now we fucking, she thuggin', getting loud.
Cause we poppin' like,
hey, oh. All my bitches got real hair, chillin' with the top down, screaming like, hey, oh. I'ma take her ass down, she bring her friend around, fuck them both like, hey, oh. I'm a bougie ass nigga, left the roof at home.
We poppin' like,
hey, oh, hey,
we poppin' like,
but don't be acting like I need ya.
Don't bite on this shit. Damn. You gonna hurt. You gonna peel the skin off of me.
I'm a packer, so I keep coach for the Steelers. I send hollows to the pile of Milo while you hoe niggas. Then put them in the trunk like Ray do. Get caught, beat the charges like Ray Lou. Apollo swag, and I ain't talking Ray Chew. I mean, my shit's out of orbit like a space crew. Cleanest cascade when I skate through. Tipping new candy paint, paper plates too. I take the bitter with the sweet so you can hate too. Real niggas so hard to find like a Daewoo. Black Panther paint, my inside's Pyru. Money ain't new, I call it deja vu. Ballin' since a kid, you can call me Caillou. Now ask them who the best bet is, say Caillou. I'm so cold in the game. 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 So where them haters at? Where them haters at? Where them haters at? Where them haters at? It don't get no better than the best, my nigga. You see it? Killer. Hey, dirty money like I got it out of Big Ben. And I'm sold like a pigskin, big beans. And my my 501 jeans, cause I big spinning foes, paint wetter than fish skin. Flow dope as fish skin, oops, fish scale. Killer caliente, yeah, I spit hell. Even though I spit sick, I still spit well. Now send the beat a bouquet and tell it get well. Y'all niggas ain't G's, y'all misspell. No cash, no clash, y'all expel. Got on my landing gear, so fly I excel. Inhale, kush clouds, then I exhale. Gotta walk it, talk it, flow, call it next tail. Cause I walk it like I talk it and do that well. Google me, baby, the boy getting Gmail. Now that's a gangster getting money, call it Gmail. Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Yo,
how's everybody doing tonight? I'd like to welcome to the stage.
You already know what it is. It's Wednesday, it's that day, you already know. I gotta get ready, man. We're gonna be on long, you know how I always do. If we stay on long, it's because, you know, y'all rocking with me. Now, we're gonna shut it down in about an hour and just do it like we always do it. You know what I'm saying? But y'all seen the title, man. What's up with Crumbs, dog? Crumbs getting on here jumping and talking about Aboriginals exposed. If you don't shut your Chinese mulatto mix, don't even look like you Aboriginal, have an ass up. Now, how you gonna speak on behalf of something that you not? Because we clearly can look at you and see that you mixed with all kind of shit. Boy, if you don't sit your motherfucking $5 sneaking on a reservation, having ass down, man, trying to talk about something that you got. Because when we look at your family tree, just because you ain't got Aboriginal and you don't mean that everybody else don't. That's facts. So I ain't gonna troll you. I ain't gonna do all that. I know you get down with only one of my big bros, man, Aboriginal. But what I don't understand is the stance point. If you go back to your old videos, you should shout out to Aboriginals. Talking about we the originals and this and all that. And all of a sudden, you have a change of spectrum. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, it's maybe because you didn't went to the Chi and got a little bit of that Chicago air and went around some of those modes out there. You know what I mean? But modes don't preach that. You know what I mean? What you don't know is that, you know what I mean, I touch down in Chicago all the time, brother. See, I was born just 2 hours outside of Chicago, man. Shouts out to Indianapolis, man. You know what I'm saying? I got relatives everywhere, bro. I got relatives, you know what I'm saying, everywhere around the Midwest, from Michigan, Detroit, fucking, what is that? Man, don't get me lying, everywhere, man. You know what I'm saying? Yaktown, what's that? Shit, from there all the way to Chicago, not just Chicago, Champaign, Danville, you know what I'm saying? Peoria, you know what I'm saying? All them zones right there, they all around Chicago too, man. Ain't nothing but Aboriginals around there. See, but you wouldn't know that. You know what I mean? You think if you tapped into Chicago a little bit, and you got a little bit of that Chicago air, you got beside yourself, brother. I'm starting to think that you got mental illness. If you think for a minute that these motherfuckers that you calling Native Americans don't have a history that's closely resembled to yours, and put them on a landmass, okay, and not do any DNA tests, don't go by any blood quantities, okay, you ain't looked at their documentation, not paperwork, not nothing, and just go merely by phenotype and say you don't look like this, so you ain't that. If you don't sit your $5 ass down, and you can make whatever kind of video you want to make about me, brother, it's all great. Because if that makes you feel good, then that makes you feel good, but you can't dispute those facts, right? Now, you know what I'm saying? I sent a shout out to you a few times, brother, and you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I go all the way back from the time when you invited Chief Kalanago on your platform. I don't know what, about at least 3-4 times, man. And he went on there and even had to straighten you out with some of that information. And then from there, you know what I'm saying? I thought maybe you was kind of walking in that direction where you understood the type of information that we was putting out there. And even though I know your stance point is more than anything, right? Because that's what you congratulate on the platform. But bro, if you ain't got no evidence to nothing, how you got 2 words to say about anything, man? You know what I mean? And I'm not the type of person to get on YouTube slice and dice, man. But you know what I mean? I wasn't gonna wait for nobody else to say nothing before I said something, man. Because I can shut it down real quick, brother. Let's do this right here, man. Matter of fact, I'm not. I said I wasn't gonna share your video. I lied. I'm gonna go back. Matter of fact, I'm not gonna do that. I ain't gonna be petty like that. You know what I mean? Because I don't hate Crumb. You know what I mean? Shouts out to Crumb, man. But when you saying some shit that ain't right, I'm like the big brother, man. I'm gonna look at you and be like, and give you a chance to refresh that statement, brother. Because you know, obviously you don't know much or more about what you're talking about, and you don't appear to be Aboriginal, but I can't go by your looks to say that. But just by expert opinion and looking at your phenotypes, you don't fall in that category, okay? And you have the right to have that same type of, you know, opinion. You know what I'm saying? But the only thing is, not everybody's gonna fall in that category, brother. That's just the only thing. You know what I'm saying? So you can't group us all up and say we came here and there's, you know, I don't care what you claiming or I don't care what you got on your paperwork. You know what I mean? Folks who went out here and spent thousands to get their DNA, you know, real DNA. I know 23andMe crap. You know what I mean? Sponsored by the fucking feds, Soros, bullshit, right? You know, but really went out here and diligently, you know what I mean, did some real research on their history. We find out they're not from Africa, brother. You need to respect that. You know what I'm saying? Don't never get up on the platform talking about you ain't this, it's pseudo, Aboriginals exposed. Ain't nobody exposing what, man? Please. Now, I thought I was wanted for somebody to say something. It seemed like everybody else is so occupied on everything else, man. You know, that kind of slipped through the cracks. But when you got a following like you got, man, you know, we can't dish out this type of information, okay? Using the same platform, right? And then, you know, you showing different shades of black, you know, different shades of gray, my fault. You know what I mean? Going into this demonstration. So I don't care what you got. We can queue it up anytime you get ready, man. You think you want to get on the panel, you can invite me to your panel, platform, or whatever. Or you can jump on my brother and we can open the books and crack down and get to the meat, all the way to the meat, from the meat to the gristle, nigga. And just, you know what I mean? And I'm ready for that. So what do you want to do? Because I got some nice books over here. And obviously you haven't seen what I've seen or read what I read or experienced what I experienced. You know what I mean? To kind of go in on topics, you know what I mean, using lookership, brother. I mean, that's something that, you know, I thought you had graduated from that level, like real talk, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, anyway, how it goes, man, I'm not going to stay stuck on that, you know what I mean? But I felt like it was warranted to say something about that, definitely, man, because, you know, we taking the stance point of having an Aboriginal in my family, and we here, we still here, and, you know, we going through shit, bro, but we still here. That's just the whole thing, you know what I mean? We're not going to get knocked out. You know, they said 2020 was supposed to be that era, you know, where it was supposed to be an allegiance of different races and hardly any black people at that time. Well, we showed them wrong. And black and not black in a literal sense, because there's no such thing as black. You go into the crayon color book, you know what I mean, and using crayons as color coordinations, man, and designating people, man, using colors and crayon colors, man, to say that you from here and black, and then don't even have your skin context correctly, and then tell you that you black when you brown all day long. Okay, that part right there, man. So listen, man, we're gonna stop right there because we ain't gonna get all the way up in there. I feel like I'm in here just sparring by myself, you know what I mean? And I ain't got a target. So, you know, that's some weak shit to say that you're gonna do this and do all that, you know, and then you know how you just throw punches and shit, but then when you get out there to good fight, you know what I mean, you hide your hands. And that ain't the type of person I do. You know what I mean? I stay ready. You know what I mean? So anytime you want to jump in that ring, brother, you just throw my name out there. You know what I mean? And we definitely can get up there and share, because that slide presentation that you had, man, was so goddamn pitiful. You know, shouts out to young Yost, man, little Yost, Rios, man. He was on the platform last night with me and him too, and we seen that shit. Both was tripping on me like he was bugging, you know what I'm saying? and then got on the chat to started a block party. You know what I'm saying? But I dodged all that shit. So, you know, but it is what it is, though. But like I said, I ain't gonna play. I'm gonna do this one little part.
Indianapolis, Indiana, Jamaica in this J, Cali, SoCal, South Central / Watts, Phoenix, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Okay, let me keep on going. Native assimilation. Masonry follows the course of European intrusion and encroachment into the native land. The natives did not practice masonry until the European came. Let's be clear about that. So where did masonry start? It started where the European first started his invasion and encroachment at, in the northeast with the Iroquois.
Brother, can we get a source, though? Can we get a source on that? You got nice little pretty pictures of some feathers right there with the G, but you ain't really saying nothing. And the thing is, you can't start in the middle of the story, brother. You got to go back to the origin, right? So where do these so-called Native Americans come from that you're talking about that's commonly on these reservations at this point in time? And if that's the case, why are they not using blood quantum? See, these are the type of questions you need to ask before you dabble in these type of conversations, man. Okay? Because blood supersedes phenotypes, bro. Just like your light-skinned ass can have a black daddy, but I can't look at you and tell that. You see what I'm saying? And for me to say that you anything other than what you are by looking at the color of your skin is disingenuous, bro. Okay? That's not scholarship. Come on, bro. And I thought more about you than that, and I still do, man. I hope that we can have a healthy back and forth or something of this, but we definitely got to clarify this, brother, because you went from all last year, man, rocking with Chief Kalinago to the point where I thought you was an Aboriginal, or at one point, you know what I'm saying, a representative or an associate, you know what I mean? But, to come up with this type of slide, man, and this type of presentation, man, it was kind of like a cookie cutter, copy and paste type thing. It didn't really have a lot of sources on there, you know what I mean? And it was a sword to the eyes for me. I didn't even finish the presentation, but I watched a great portion of it, man. And, like I said, I don't know if maybe you in your feelings at time or whatever it is, but this don't even look like a Crumb TV work of art. You see what I'm saying? Because you've had some good bills in the past, brother. And like I said, you can go back and find me in some of your chats, you know what I'm saying, where I'll put your name up. But, when you came out and did this, brother, you know what I mean, you had to get the official Creek Running Water. Shut up. Shut your ass up, nigga, and sit your ass down, okay? So that's what we're going to leave it at that. I ain't going to harp on it. You know what I mean? It ain't my thing. Like I said, we still love the brother Crumb. You know what I mean? Even though you're a little confused on, what came first, the chicken or the egg type shit, right? So we're going to leave that alone, and I'm going to keep it moving and grooving. Next little thing I got right here, I always try to mix it in with the law, right? So we're going to go in on contracts because pretty much all day today, I've been getting phone calls, and repetitively, I've had to keep telling people about where you're in a contract, okay? All right, let's get this brother's stuff out here because we're done with that, right? We ain't going to keep entertaining. Stop showing that. But I got the link out there. Y'all want to jump in there? Shouts out to Copper Colored Nation. Salute to the guy, Brandon Rogers. Inductive pleasure. Peace to the guy. Peace to the goddess Gretchen Pound. Peace to the guy, nonetheless. None, jump on there, man. When you get in, when you get on here, man, we going in. Anytime y'all see none, it's a combination with a none mixed with that creek, boy, you already know we about to go in, man. It's gonna be nasty little demonstration. Feel me? And I don't mean nasty in a bad way. I mean nasty in a good way. But anyway, it's just Wooly here. Shouts out to the guy. Peace to the guy. Peace to the panel. Shouts out to the little bro, Trailblazer, up in here. You know what I'm saying? Glad to have you on the panel, family. Or when you do it, jump on the panel. So peace to the whole chat. I'm scrolling up. Let me see. In case I missed anybody, man. Peace to the guys. Peace to the guys. Okay. Shine Israel, Wilmore Rowe, Reed, and the guys, excuse me. Shouts out to Lady Lynn Goddess, you know what I'm saying, up in here. You know what I'm saying? Peace to the guys, man. So yeah, we're gonna rock out, man, for sure, man.
Hello.
We're gonna keep it boogie. What's up, big bro? Nonetheless. Yeah, you on, brother. What's up? Peace to the guys, man. We can hear you. Peace to the guys. Okay, so
can you hear me?
Yeah, you on here. I can hear you. Maybe you can't hear me. I don't know. Let me see what's going on real quick. Peace to the guys. Peace to the guys. Should be able to hear me, man. I had some good sound on here just a minute ago. Jump back on, man, when you get ready, man. You got the link. Just jump back on. All right, so what we got right here is, what does accepted for value mean? See, you listen, before we get into contracts, man, and I ain't gonna be long, be very brief, okay? We need to know the terminology. What language are you speaking from, and what did these words mean before we start playing any game? Now, know that, okay? Don't jump out at a novice level, okay? Think it's all off the top of the head, and you can bust a freestyle, and you're gonna be able to just put it all together, you know what I'm saying, without even knowing the rules to the game, because that's not how you're supposed to play, you know what I'm saying? There's instructions for a reason. So part of those instructions, when you put stuff together, man, always, especially when it comes to contracts, man, there's always going to be terms to the agreement, okay? What does accepted for value mean is a term within itself, okay? When you say accepted for value, that is like the hull of the ship, okay? It's like what holds the contract together is a value, okay? It has to be value and it has to be accepted, okay? Those are two of the most important parts of a contract that bind a contract: acceptance and value, okay? So what does accepted for value mean? Let's go in. Like I said, hopefully we get done to jump back on. Big Bro was on there for a minute. My phone is buzzing, it's going off. Y'all know I'm on the live, so why don't y'all just jump on the live? Shouts out to Sharice, you know what I'm saying, all the way from Memphis 10. If you see me, sister, I've already sent you the link. Y'all jump on the, I don't know why y'all calling me on my phone, brother. What's going on? I got like 10 messages on my phone. Y'all jump online, man. Y'all just seen I was live. But anyway, yeah, man, let's go into some of the terminology on accepted for value, okay? Because this is something that we need to get familiar with going forward, okay? You need to know what accepted for value is. It's very important. So you put an asterisk next to that, okay? Because it will come up again. And if I don't ask you, then by you already being conditioned, all right, when you hear it, it won't be the first time. And then you'll be able to have the definition to go with that, you know what I'm saying? And being able to relinquish the right type of information. So we're going to go in definitely, man. Let me unmute Big Bro nonetheless, man, in case you want to jump on or comment. I'm just going to go ahead and read from that. I don't know if y'all can see it. Let me try to bring the screen up a little bit. All right. Let's get it in. Okay. What does accepted for value mean? So we go ahead and put that together real quick. So here we go. Now I'm gonna skip over some of this introduction. It's a little long-winded. Just feel like when I feel like I need to cover something, I'm gonna cover it because I've already talked about this until I was blue in the face. And if you haven't already seen where I dropped a very decent bill on accepted for value, this would be considered to be video number 2. Video number 1 was done on the original Copper Empress Hobart's channel, okay? 1 and channel number 2, the original Mahogany Empress Hobart, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's instead of copper is mahogany. So you definitely can tune it in because, you know, before I started, you know, putting my platform together, you know, the sister was generous enough to put me on the platform, you know what I mean, so I can make some noise with it, you know what I mean, and we definitely put it down. I got some classic builds. If not, I would say, and a lot of people would agree, that my best builds were on her platform, okay? They were some of the best builds that I had. They were planned, they were put together real nice and composed, and I went in on them. So, but anyway, like I said, I'm gonna kind of skip through this a little bit. This would be part 2 to the other video. Check out the Copper Empress Hobart channel, number 1 and 2, the original Mahogany Empress. I believe that's what it is, if I'm not butchering it. And you want to go on there and check my law bills that I had, bills on civil and law. Okay, So anyway, y'all pull up a seat, man, and get your pistols, your pads out. You know what I mean? Sit back, relax. You know what I'm saying? Get your neck in a nice position and focus on this information. Right? We're about to go in. So anyway, so what does accepted for value mean? Millions of people use the phrase accepted for value every day without knowing what it means and why it is so powerful. You have the right to make personal choices that affect your commercial affairs. You could be in control or you could be controlled. Acceptance for value is one means of being in control, right? Which is a fact. So we're going to go into that. So the introduction, let's look over some of the introduction real quick. These are some of the books. I was fortunate to read some of these books. You know, when I first started trying to get into this information, man, I try to read everything across my eyes. All right. So, yes, American, National, or Federal. It's a 97-page book. Very decent read. I got a lot of good information off that. Not just that, but you get a lot of these little pamphlets like, let me see. If I got something real quick, I'm not going to walk across the room and go get a book, but I thought I had something here handy because I always keep books around. I lied. I said something about it. Hold on, because I got a book for you. I have a book so I need to give you an example of some of the stuff you can read. I know that's like But anyway, I thought I was going to be able to be quick with it, but I'm not. So we're going to keep it moving. But I actually had some good books, and by request, I had somebody that actually was asking me what type of books. And actually, I do got a copy of those books in my my email. That I sent some start-off books that you can read that can put you in a good position as far as learning about commerce, okay? And how it pertains to everyday life and things you can do like to adjust your bank account, learn over some of the more of the terms that you need to learn. Much appreciated. But anyway, so these are some of the books, booklets, you know what I mean? You kind of scan through that a little bit. Look at the video, play it back. You know what I mean? Liberty was another good one. Where There Is No Money. It talks about, that was another good read too, where it talks about currency and the Federal Reserve note, okay, which is commonly known as the FRN. FRNs are just placements, all right? They're very similar to the T-bill process when they had that, because they're not backed up by anything. They're just a promise to pay. So like in the event, if somebody had gold, which is very one of the biggest commodities you could have as far as a system of currency at one point in time, or something that can equivalent a measure of value with trading. So it's also gold and silver too as well could be used for trading in place of currency. Back then,
it's 9 o'clock.
High value of anything was placed on gold and silver most of the time. Okay, in place of what we now use, what is used as currency. But even in any event, when people were using gold as a formal way of trading, okay, and a form of value. Gold is very, very heavy, okay, and it's like a rock. Okay, if you had somewhere that maybe like half a ton of gold, you're not gonna move that with no horse. A horse gonna turn around and look at you like, you know, what you talking about, Willis? Horse ain't going nowhere on no half a ton of, you know what I'm saying, half a ton of gold. Not one horse, not even two, you know, in that matter, because it's just too heavy to transport. So what a lot of times what people would do is to have a witness to say that they had it, or a trustworthy, you know, like a witness or just somebody that, you know, was trustworthy, period, right? A source, you know, so I can say a trustworthy, somebody that, you know, is trustworthy, or somewhere within that source. They would put structures, which were called letters of credit, okay, at that time, during the time of the T-bill, before it was issued in the late 20s, early 30s, when they first came out with the first source, or the first disbursement of T-bills, okay? T-bills were just like a receipt. It's almost like a pawn slip, or slip, you know, like when you go to the pawn shop, okay? It was a slip, basically to say that you had property somewhere and the amount of property that you had, right? And they would use these little slips of paper to say, hey, it's worth this much, or valued amount, or something that's kept here, right? They said keep it. So the holder of that note, or the holder of that paper, because it was a note back then, it was like you got a note on the paper, you know what I'm saying, was the holder of that value. It just took your signature, you know, like even when you see the dollars, you look at the bottom, it has a signature on it, okay, which made it effective so that people could trade without having to transport large amount of gold, okay, because it just wasn't feasible, man, to take lumps of gold, you know what I mean, by the volumes, and then, you know, it would break, and then thieves, you had people that would steal it, thieves and that type of thing. So you had to have a source that was trustworthy, you know what I mean, and they would give you these slips, you take the slip, and then if you needed to, you go cash out, you know what I'm saying? So basically they took that same ideology, okay, and now here we are 150, just a little over 150 years later, we have come to that type of, we have succumbed to that type of formality, where currency has been placed on paper, even though it's not backed up by any value. People will still take the note as consideration, okay? Consideration for value. Okay? Now, when we get into the terms, some of the things about what does accepted for value mean, and I see the large screen is buzzing over here. We got people jumping on. I got the link, man. So hold on a second. You know, Melon app is just not something that's just, it's not one of the best streaming platforms, okay? It just really ain't. So I'm gonna put Thunderbird on here. And anybody else want to jump on, man, you can jump on. We just shooting the shit. What's up? Peace to the guys, man. Peace to the guys. Peace to the guy, Thunderbird, man. When you get ready, just tap your mic, man, and just jump on in. You want to chime in, or you want to add, you know, your 2 cents to the platform, man. I ain't gonna be long-winded. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about this, and then we're gonna throw on, you know, anybody's opinions, both based on any postings or any of the, you know, what I mean, the stuff that we've been talking about, as far as, you know, what I mean, Aboriginals being exposed. If you want to go more into the subject matter of what came first and how it's prevalent that a lot, what is that, 4 million, something of 4 million. I mean, the number keeps going down. It was a great significant number. It was 22 at one time. It was 21. Now they're trying to say, oh, it's about 14 million people. You know, it was travel from here, from, you know, a boat on some undesignated place in Africa, you know, where we didn't keep any records of anything. We don't have any proof. Just believe the story. Close your eyes. You know what I mean? Open your mouth. You know, open your mouth. Say, you know, let's put that in there. And then you get a good feeling out there at the end. You know what I'm saying? I'll be your friend type shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's that little grade school shit from back in the days. You know, it's like, you know, hey man, no, stick your hand out, close your eyes, open your mouth, and just put all kind of shit in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? You know, man, listen, man, if I trust you, then, you know, man, I'd have to see proof first before I trust any information that comes from the colonizers. That's, to me, is just common sense. I don't see how anybody can go through and have a grave history of this oppression where it's just straight up racism, right? Like, we just know it's that at the end of the day, racism is just what it is, right? It's blaring in our face. And at the end of the day, go back to these people and beg for them to teach you, you know what I'm saying, and know that they lying with no proof, and then turn around and swear to it. I just don't understand that part. It just seemed like, to me, anybody that is consciousness would cross their mind like it crossed my mind to know that this is just a hijack. You know what I'm saying? Especially when there's no proof to back up any of this shit, right? So we're gonna go in, but let me get on the subject about the contracts real quick. I want to bring that out to the platform, and then I'm gonna sew it all together. You know what I'm saying, like Betsy Ross. And then you know, I want y'all to just reflect on whatever information we got on here. Just talk about it for a minute. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. You know what I'm saying? I got my dinner over here, it's sitting cold, so you know, I reckon we probably go about another 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I could drop a couple jewels. Somebody else could get on here and break some bread and spit on the mic. You know what I'm saying? So, but going back to we accept it for value. Now you see some of the highlights down here. Information that is highlighted is going to be the main topic of discussion. So we got the introduction is going to be the Uniform Commercial Code in Article 3 that deals with negotiable instruments as one source of explanation. Right? We just talking about, you know, the dollar, the T-bill, and so forth. So if you missed that, you know, man, that's just runs concurrent with what we're talking about. And the Uniform Commercial Code under Article 3 talks about negotiable instruments. Okay, and negotiable instruments it's a vague title to say that it means more than one thing. But negotiable instruments is definitely going to be a note, like the T-bill. Okay? So, but anyway, that's just one source for explanation. Article 8 deals with investment securities, and Article 9 deals with secure transactions. Okay, and that's what I was trying to get. I had a book on secure transactions. I read this whole accepted for value manual probably about 100 times in the last 6, 7, 8 years. Very good read. I consider this to be one of the essential and fundamental documents that anybody coming into commerce or learning anything about private administration definitely needs to read this right here. Like, skipping over this, it's like, how do you know it without reading this? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna get this much information collectively all together in one read. You know what I'm saying? It covers a lot of shit. So anyway, going to Article 8, you know, it deals with securities, and Article 9 deals with secure transactions. I got a book on secure transaction and one on investing in securities, and that's something that I look forward to doing. You know, and anyway, this kind of gives you the fundamentals before you get into that type of direction. Okay? In addition to opinions written by judges to shed light on the remedies, all 3 of these articles hold a key: understanding commercial setoff. Now, commercial setoff is going to be when you take the balance and bring it all the way down to 0. Okay, that's a setoff. Okay, a discharge is for another day, right? Like, okay, I'm giving you a note, because that's when we talked about a note, right? Let's say I give you a T-bill and you got this T-bill for the amount of whatever, right? But you got letters of instructions. You know, you got instructions. See, this thing about T-bills, T-notes, letters of credit, bonds. All they are, man, they're all considered to be currency, right? Up on Article 3 of the negotiable instruments, right? And it would talk about bonds and letters of credit, certificates, and you know what I mean, and so forth. And all these things are monetized. They all have a value, including certificates. Certificates like the certificate of live birth. It's monetized. When you look at the paper, the bond paper that is made on, you know what I mean, the paper is specifically the same type of material paper that they use for money. And it is by design. It's not by accident that they do that, but it's definitely by design, because these things are monetized. Once you get to that field, you definitely got to be a big wig. So, like I said, skipping over terms to jump to that type of thing makes it very, very complicated. And then when you think you get to the end, you know what I'm saying, then you realize that you took a wrong turn, and then you got to go all the way back to go the other way. Okay, and so we don't want that. So I like to cover over the basics, right? And I ain't gonna be too much longer. All right, so the UCC covers that, talks about, that set-off, commercial set-off, taking the balance from zero to whatever the existing balance is to zero, which is a set-off. Okay, the UCC had an overhaul in 2000, but the major principles remain the same. The changes appear to be the sections that deal with secure transactions, which is Article 9. Now they have what's called the revised Article 9, okay, because they did went through, where they had to go revise, and then they rescinded a lot of some of the laws that existed at that time, at that point in time. Like I said, the article was saying in 2000s, specifically in the early 2000s, a lot of the rules that they had changed over to something else. Now it's called revised Article 9. Okay, and in some of the investment securities, Article 8, but negotiable instruments are what led to those securities. Okay, the phrase "accepted for value," quote unquote, has life coverage in the code book or in court opinions. A better understanding of commercial terms, acceptance, quote, and value, quote, how they relate to instruments in general would be a good place to start. Okay, those three things, when you talk about streams of money and income and investments, you always want to be able to go into Article 8, okay, which deals with securities, and Article 3, which deals with negotiable instruments. Like I said, we talked about T-bills, and T-bills are just one form of currency. Like I say, when you go to the bank, they want to give you $1 million. How would you move $1 million from your account to the next? Or for you to cash out $1 million, it would be on pallets. You'd have money on pallets and you'd be moving them on bricks. That's just ridiculous. You don't do that. So you would have something that's called a letter of credit, right? And because a bank is already issued the authority, and they also have the credibility of the people to move credits on the screen. So they can just basically give you a card with a balance, okay? And you can check the balance and use the card in order to, make a deposit, or you can make an advance, okay? So that's basically what they're saying here in a nutshell. Things have advanced to get to this level, but when you talk about acceptance and a contract, okay, these are some of the things that make a contract, okay? Without acceptance, there's no contract, okay? You have to have two people, which becomes the meeting of the minds. Once the two people come together with an idea, there has to be an acceptance in order for there to be a contract, okay? Acceptance, the definition, number one, an agreement, either by express act or by implication from conduct, okay? So I walk into McDonald's know you either one, you're going in to use the bathroom, and making a left or right to either go to the counter to eat, or, some people just come to the bathroom, needless to say. But other than that, most people, 9 times out of 10, are coming in to eat, okay? And that is implied. It's implied by your implications, okay? Express is going to be something that's done right then and there, okay? So the two forms of an offer so that a binding contract is formed, okay? So then again, stated what I just said. In order for there to be a contract, it has to have an acceptance, okay? And acceptance has to come through the implication or the express of your actions, okay? So a lot of times people move into these contracts, okay, without signing and say, I don't remember signing shit. Okay, well, you showed up, okay? You went into the place and you showed up. So their door was open for what? Consumers, customers, okay? And they got an advertisement, and, for you to walk into McDonald's with the same example, it's only implied that you're coming in to, use the bathroom first and then go eat. You know what I'm saying? One or the other, right? So, but you're coming in to eat, all right? That's about one, all right? Straight up, okay? Now, expression is going to go by the express, okay? Express is just what it is, expression. How, the expression is usually always going to be about questioning, okay? Like, you usually have a questionnaire. Like, say you go to get benefits for your security, Social Security, right? Now, you came in there, it's already implied that you're a customer, consumer, but you could be coming in there to deal with business, whatever, and they need proof. So what they're going to do is they're going to ask for what? Your membership card, which is going to be the Social Security card. Then they're going to ask you a series of questions, okay? And then they're going to register you according to whatever information that you put in that computer. It's going to be by your expression, okay? And you expressed or expression, you do that verbally, and you can do that physically too as well. Implications is always going to be what you implied without saying it. Okay, you showed up at McDonald's, you came in, you're a customer, unless you're coming in to hold the place up. But then, you know, they got jails for that too. So, you know, that's an agreement too. You actually got to accept the crime, and then, you know, you can look at it like that. It's simple. It's very simple. You can look at anything and virtually use anything as an example, just like I'm using, to express what a contract is. And that's definitely what it is. Everything is a contract. Anything that needs acceptance, okay, and two people in order to go by whatever it is that they, you know, the conditions or the terms of that agreement, okay, an agreement is going to be a what? Acceptance, okay? Ask you, do you agree or do you not agree? If you don't agree, there's no acceptance. If you agree, then it is acceptance, okay? All right, so if acceptance modifies the terms, okay, or adds new ones, it generally operates as a what? Counteroffer. Okay, you know, you can look in the Black's Law 7th edition, definitely get that definition. I don't have one prepared right here, but I've been along with it. But you get the idea, and you definitely can take this footnotes, okay, and then put this together with what you got going on, you know, for better understanding. Okay, now to accept. Okay, now what is accept? Accept, to receive with approval or satisfaction. To receive with intent to retain. Okay, read it again. To receive. Receive means to do what? You're on the receiving end, then basically somebody has to be able to shoot whatever it is that you're receiving, because in order for you to receive it, it has to be given. Okay, so to receive something with approval. Okay, so again, you got idealistically, you got somebody in whatever the situation is, they're giving you something, right? And you receive it through your approval, right? Okay, so like if somebody handed you a brand new wristwatch, or say it's a I don't know, Rolex or something, right? And it's a $20,000 Rolex, right? They got those. So you look at it, it's like, you know what, that's satisfactory. I like that. Give me that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you these bones in exchange for that. Boom. Right? You just made a deal because your acceptance and the acceptance was shown when you approved of it. Okay, so it has to be. So when accepted is viewed as being approved. So in other words, people are black because they like being black. Okay, if you don't want to be black and you don't like being black, don't be black. You know what I'm saying? Accept it or don't accept it. That's simple. Okay, or satisfaction, like you're satisfied with it. A lot of people are satisfied with being black, right? To receive with intent to retain. Okay, so the intent is, it goes back to implication again. Okay, your intention was to retain it. Like, we giving you this, it's your watch, you put it on your arm, it's yours, right? The intention is for you to get something out of the acceptance. So when you get the acceptance, you got something, right? Like you going to jail, like we just talked about that. You going to jail, they're gonna give you 3 hot cots. You know what I mean? You get to make a phone call. Those are benefits. Okay, commissary, those are benefits, right? You agreed to that and you benefited it. Okay. So acceptance, okay, period. Now this is kind of tricky. The taking, you underline that means to highlight that. Taking. Okay, we talked about receiving. This part is taking. So it's acceptance on both sides of the contract. That's what you need to know. So when you receive, you accept. When you're taking, you accept, right? Taking and receive, not in the same context, okay? It's out of the same context, but also upon taking, okay? So basically receiving the approval or satisfaction, when you receive that, you're accepting something, or I'm sorry, I don't want to confuse. You're looking at, or it comes with it, okay? Like you eat a piece of ice, the coldness comes with it, okay? Whether you get ice or cold water, cold comes with it. Either way you want it, it's going to be solidified as, it's always going to be solidified as cold, you know what I'm saying? Unless, you know, conditions change. But again, if the terms of the agreement are to go into the refrigerator and after 20 minutes get your cup of water out, okay, those terms already automatically are making the implication of something that's going to be cold without even saying anything. It's implied. Okay, and you know when you put your hand into the freezer, it's going to be cold, right? Now, when you take it out by approval, you took it out. You took it out, you drank it. That's acceptance, right? Okay, now upon taking acceptance and receiving, of anything in good part, long as you got it, you drank it, it was hot outside, you wanted it, you got it because you wanted it, right? And is and as if and excuse me, start and is it were a tacit agreement to a preceding act. Now I said that slow for a reason. Getting over this one part is a little tongue twister. There's and as it were, okay. And as it were, it should have a comma there, okay. A tacit agreement, okay. What is tacit agreement? Tacit agreement is you agreed, even though you didn't say it with your mouth, okay. Tacit means to pass. You passed. You passed. What's a layman term for it? You showed that your acceptance without saying it, basically, okay. Tacit agreement. So you agreed. You didn't say anything. You didn't say no. So it was yes. And then we did it, and you didn't stop us. That's tacit. Tacit agreement. You agreed through tacit. Okay. Okay. So tacit to a preceding act. Okay. So you proceeded, meaning you kept it going, like it kept going, like you put the ice in there. The terms of the agreement is going to be cold. When it gets real cold, you can take it out. And from there, you know what I mean, drop my bread in the cup. You know what I'm saying? Or in the cash register, right? I'm getting paid. So, you know, I'm giving you a list of things you can do. The water's in the freezer. You come into the store, you go grab the cold, pop, whatever. You pull it out. Before you come on out with that water, make sure you stop at the cash register and drop the bread. That's it. Okay? You go into the store, it's implied. You coming in to get something in there that you want, right? Now you come in my house uninvited, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna get shot. So that's an agreement too. Like, but who does that? Nobody really just runs up in the house because they know there's a possibility there's something else that is unwanted on the other side of that door coming in unwanted, right? So that's a contract you don't want to make, you know what I'm saying? Because you know that you're giving somebody something, you know what I mean, or taking or receiving something that you don't want and they don't want, right? So it's a two-part thing. That wouldn't be a contract, right? But upon taking and receiving anything in good part, meaning to say you went in there and got cold water out the freezer in the you know, the gas station or whatever, okay, and it was in good part. Like you went in, you was thirsty as hell before you stopped, right? So that was the good part. That was a gas station right there. Ooh, you know, babe, stop over there. Boom, you know how y'all do. Get out the car, go in. They got pop. They got your favorite drink. You go in, you come out. Now, at that point, okay. And as it were, tacit agreement without even saying anything to proceed. Like you walk in and you going, I don't have to say stop at the register. You already know without even saying anything, right? So which might have been defeated or avoided if acceptance had not been made. So if you came in and you didn't get anything, you just walk back out. Okay? That means you didn't accept. Your acceptance is your approval, okay, based on your actions, based on your expression, okay, and those are two big forms of contracts, and those together make up a performance, right? It's the act of doing something, the act of acceptance. So you have the act of accepting or acceptance, right? Okay, so that's a very big part, and we need to know that because that's where a lot of the hijack came from. For a lot of us that know that we Aboriginal, right? We know that there was a hijack at one point in time. And at one point in time, you know what I'm saying? Not being able to go all into the rhetoric, because we know a lot of slavery, what they said, slavery and how it existed just didn't play out that way for it to be how it is. Especially when you can look and use a land pattern to see where people had land that predated the time where the colonizer came in and pillaged around the time, even in around the 13th original colonies, okay? We had land. You had Negroes that had land all the way back to, you know, as long as they had land patents and a census, which would be somewhere like 1780, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around that point, okay? They had land. So, you know, they'll come in and say 1400 something. They want to try to put that date way back there to say, you know, we was a slave. But listen, overall, we know that it was a flux of people that came in just by looking at the manifest, okay? That around the mid 1800s, going from 1840, 50, and 60, around that that medium part of the century, there was a flux of, you know, Caucasians that came, Asians, Black Europeans, what we consider to be ruddy in skin, or, you know, rude or black, dark brown or whatever, of all different complexions, baby. They came in from Africa that were not Aboriginal, okay, not Aboriginal to this land, okay. And around that time, a lot of some of these colonizer businesses, like the Virginia Company that we won, we heard a lot of people talk about that one, but that wasn't the only one. You had one, you had the Massachusetts one too, right? So they had the Massachusetts colonies. All of these made up the 13 original colonies, but they were all a franchise, okay? And they put together business, right? And they was real studious in business. And the whole purpose of having the 13 original colonies was to create a community that vested in the land and production on top of the land. So just to have land and sleep on the grass is very uncomfortable. When you have land, you can do many things with land. You can produce, you can mass produce, you can use production, you can have employees, so forth and so forth. And you see how you can manifest something from that. And pretty much you have to have space to do that. Right? No, you're not going to raise up a family of 20 in a 2-bedroom house unless you're Mexican. Now, you ain't going to do that, period, without having some type of outside resource. Okay, it has to be connected to something, running water, and because now we're living in the future, it's kind of hard to vision how you living now and then place yourself 100 years ago and then try to relate when these type of things weren't prevalent. Okay, it just running water, they didn't have running water at that point in time. And if they did, it wasn't prevalent. You had to be rich or well off to have that. Okay, flow system, for toilets. A lot of them had to squat back then. Okay, so these type of things have transgressed to get to where they were at, and it was a progression period. And we know when we go through the timeline, more specifically, we don't land. We don't, unless you're making yourself a slave. There's not really any proof to say that you are a slave other than your just opinion or your choice to believe it, right? And we know just even by using some of the land patterns, like I just said before, which is a good point, that it shows where a lot of the so-called Negro races, continued to have property around the time where we was primarily supposed to be slaves, and in that time, going by the narrative that the European or the Caucasian was ahead in business and land, and basically he was a slave master, and your Negro ass wasn't supposed to have any of that. And I tell people that just that one point by itself is worth investigation, enough to uncover a lot of what we consider to be just lies. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't misconstrued as anything else. It was just a straight up lie. How are you gonna have land here before the colonizer gets here? You know what I'm saying? Or in the event when you're here and land is for the taking, you got land, okay? These so-called Native Americans they hate your guts. You see how they always telling you you're a culture vulture, right? Even though they don't predate any of these times during the time, and we don't see where they designated any of these areas in the times where a lot of the Negroes had land at that time. So how are we going to be the slave but then possess more than 3/4 of all the land, during that time period of time, where you could see where it was sold or either lost through default or through mortgage, because they had, a mortgage is just a paper to say, hey, you owe me some money, you don't, then I take your property, right? So these type of things are very important, you know what I mean, and which should be topics of discussion when people are talking about relevant history when it comes to who were slaves, or the whole pictorial thing about because there's a lot of pictures and diagrams when it comes to slavery, not really a lot of hard facts. Okay, not really no. So anyway, anybody that's intelligent and that wants to know that can know that, right? So, but anyway, acceptance is one of the biggest things. Now, when we talk about value, because that's the other part of the spiel is acceptance for value, right? The value part of it is what precedes the acceptance, okay? So a naked acceptance waives remedy that are available by waiving defects in the instrument. Now, the instrument is going to be what? A written document, okay, with the execution, right? It's going to be a written document with the execution, or an executed written document. Either way it goes, it's the same difference, okay? So an executed written document, and we know that execute means to carry out, right? It means to take from point A to point B, right? Depending on whatever the subject matter is, right? So we want to carry out the terms of the agreement on that paper, And if it's an instrument specifically in law means something that is, one, been monetized. Number two, something that sets some type of agreement. It sets the platform for somebody getting paid and somebody that's going to be the payee. So you got a payee and a payer. Okay, when it comes to most instruments. Okay, and the most typical example I always use is about when you get a light bill. When you get a light bill, you owe money on that bill. So whoever you're tying, like a lot of times, you can just unfold the bill and you can make a payment if you're ready to make a payment. You can do it with the card, but if not, it will allow you to pocket the money in what looks like an invoice, wrap it up, put it back in an envelope, and then send it out, right? So people still mail their bills out, right? They just do that. It's, more correctly, the way to do it with a check, okay? But in the event if you do that, that would consider to be an instrument, okay? Money is an instrument, okay? Because it holds some type of monetary value, but it also is a medium and a platform that either ties a payee to a payer. That would be an instrument, but it also has to be a written document, okay? And a Federal Reserve note would consider to be an instrument, okay? In most cases, okay? So we got an instrument, okay? And if the instrument has any type of defect, I have to say that the value of the defect, or I'm sorry, the defect could be something that's irregular in the contract, okay? Like something went wrong, right? Like, I didn't get what I ordered. I opened up the bag and got one sandwich instead of three, okay? I got cheated, you know what I'm saying? I gave you a promissory note, $1 a piece, $3 for 3 sandwiches, and I got one, okay? Now, that would consider to be a defect in the process of accepting an instrument, but then you also have things where people make mistakes with the instrument, if not a Federal Reserve note. You could say, like, when you got your bill in the mail, maybe you called them and cussed them out because it was more than what it was supposed to be, right? And a lot of times that happens, and they will adjust the bill, the instrument, you know what I mean? So it reflects the real balance in the payment, and it makes you happy to make the money, right? A naked acceptance, meaning nothing there. Acceptance waives remedy. So if it doesn't have any type of acceptance, and you just make a contract, but there's no acceptance, like, I'm just gonna force you to get this, like, open your mouth, you just gonna eat this and you don't want it, and then I'm gonna go in your pocket and just take your money. That's not acceptance, that's bullying, right? Okay, so without an acceptance, okay, there's really no remedy available for any type of defect that goes with that. So the first thing, a part of the of value, before you even get to the part of any type of value or enjoying the fruits of the labor, like we just talked about, grabbing a bag or sandwich, 3 sandwiches, one sandwich, and you pay for 3. You get all the way home, and then you make it even worse that you get all the way home, 30 minutes away, you went all the way out here to Roscoe's or something. The only Roscoe's they had in the town, and you had to go all the way over there and come back 30-minute drive and then get back and go, your joint wasn't even in the bag, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna make you want to slap somebody. So you already know having to drive all the way back is gonna be something else, right? So that's basically equivalent to what it's saying right here. Naked acceptance waives the remedies that are available by waiving the defects in the instrument. Okay, so anyway, so we got to have an agreement, right? Agreement got to be solid. Okay, that is being offered and accepted. Receiving an instrument is an acceptance and a taking. Okay, boom. This is where I wanted to get to. See, I slow walked you all the way here because when I go fast, y'all talk about you don't understand, right? Okay, so cool. Now, what part don't you understand? You was born in a hospital, okay? Your mama didn't know she was selling you to the corporation as a slave, as a ward of the state, which is really a slave, right? That's property. Okay, she didn't know that. And when she signed every paper she did as an informant, they went back and said, we got an agreement. They got an acceptance through what? Implication. It was implied because they come in, but see, here's the thing. They came in and told you to sign it, and you didn't even think nothing else of it, just to sign it because you thought it was right? So even though it was applied, okay, they consider that to be an acceptance. But let us say what happens later on when you find out that they stole your acceptance. Like maybe you thought you was getting some gold and it wasn't gold. But in this case, we like to tie everything into the legal law, you know what I mean, so that you can see how everything is a contract. Okay, so when you got that certificate of live birth, that was proof, okay, of something that was done. Okay, that was proof. What is a certificate? What makes up a certificate? All right, Now I'm dealing with this Melanap, so I got to go back, stop, hit a button, share the screen. So it's going to be a little pause. Give me a little second. Go back and share the screen. But I just flipped from that screen to another. Okay. We're going to go in. Hold on. Give me a second. Shout out to Black Lens. Peace to the God, man. Thanks for having me on your family. Right. Okay, so we got the screen on here. Okay, we're going to go to another Chrome tab. Certificate. What is a certificate? Okay. What is a certificate? This is very important for y'all to know that. Okay. There's a lot of things I can be doing besides sitting on here breaking this bread, but this is something very valuable. Now, you got all the other Aboriginals, they telling stories about Indians and this and that and everything else, and that's all gravy. That's school time, right? But when it's time to learn the law, you got to put this with it, though, okay? Because it definitely was a hijack. And now a lot of people don't know that there's ways about it because you just got through reading where it says it's a remedy. You have a remedy. Without an acceptance is a what? It's a vacant, it's a naked acceptance. Doesn't even make a contract. It doesn't award any remedies to anything to solidify a contract, okay? Which pretty much makes it an empty statement. Nothing. They stole your acceptance. They made you think it was real gold, or they made you think that you want a birth certificate because without that you can't get benefits. Okay, well, that's probably true. But even if you didn't sign a birth certificate, you still can get benefits. My kids don't have birth certificates. Okay? And I get every benefit I want. If I want to get food stamps, I go out there and get it. Simple as that. I sign it. He's like, well, don't they bind you to a contract? Yeah. Okay. Well, bind me. I mean, if I don't want to do it no more, I just go down to the welfare department and say, listen, I'm really making a lot of money, more money than what I'm telling you. I lied on the contract. But no, well, you don't want to do that because that'll get you locked up. But that part. But you do definitely want to, even a better example than that would be to rescind the contract. And the one I like to use all the time is the license branch. That's something you don't have to do. You don't have to drive. You can just travel. Okay? Terms of the agreements, baby. You need to figure out what terms they're using and who they belong to and what you signed to. Okay? So if you went to the DMV, you went in and they said, okay, read these terms, read this. None of us read it. Okay, we take it, we turn it over, we sign and give it back to them. What you signed and what you gave back to them were the terms of the agreement. Without you reading it, you just gave explicit acceptance to a contract without even knowing that they could pull your monkey ass over and throw your ass in jail. Before you walked in that DMV, when you traveled all the way there, and before you got your driver's license, a lot of us turned 18, 17, 16, whatever, started driving around that time. Before you went to that DMV, you was free to travel without a license. And had the police pulled you over and you have never registered with the DMV and you never had a driver's license, what people don't know is that you are lawfully traveling and you are doing so under the provision. Well, it won't be a provision. I'm sorry. Let me reframe that. You will be doing so and operating in a common law capacity. Okay. Which is basically a layman word for saying, basically, you're not in commerce. I mean, if you are in commerce, you only being held responsible for whatever you sign. Right? You're not a citizen, which would put you up under any type of 14th Amendment. Okay, which wouldn't afford you certain things that we consider to be benefits, but a lot of these things are really restrictions. They're not benefits; they're restrictions. The driver's license is one. I believe it's just a restriction. Why do you need to turn over your God-given right to travel so that you can earn the privilege? Okay, this is what I just said. You already had a God-given right to travel before it became a privilege. You trade your right for a privilege to be able to, now they can infringe on it could have been private going down the street instead of being private in your conveyance. Now they have the right to pull you over because what you don't know is that the police departments, which are private organizations, okay, are contracted with the DMV. And the DMV is not a governmental institution, okay, at all. They're delegated. They have some delegation from the state in order to administer on behalf of the people because they have to have permission of the people because why? People are considered to be property, which goes back to the original part of the argument. When your mother was at the hospital, she was selling you a award to the state. Okay, they bastardized you, even though your mother and father could have been married. But when they gave you the certificate of live birth, they had her maiden name on there and your dad's last name, which doesn't show that it was a matrimony. Period. Which makes you a bastard. Okay, that's a problem. See, the whole thing is they stole your acceptance by making you think something other than the real terms of the agreement. Actually, they didn't even specify the terms of the agreement. And when you don't specify the terms of an agreement, and then later on you end up in trial and error, and then you start finding out, wait a minute, this contract ain't something I wanted to sign to. Okay, so then you go back and revisit the issuer of the certificate of live birth, which would be the vital statistics, and then you have it out with them, right? So then you're going to send them a nice little declaration or something that is legal binding, okay? Like we just talked about, legal binding, okay? And this is true. This is part of the process. So I'm just breaking it down, right? And then you're going to take that certificate of live birth and you want them to amend it or discontinue it. Now, if you want to discontinue a contract, you always have the option of doing that once the contract has been deemed as fraudulent. Okay, people sign fraud contracts all the time, right? Like if I stole some property and went up here to the pawn shop and then sold it, the pawn shop is reliable for selling hot shit. Now I go in there and had a serial number. It just so happens somebody finds it, and we do a check on the serial number to find out this shit was pawned up there at the pawn shop. Now the pawn shop got some explaining to do because they don't know you from a can of paint to say that you're embezzling, or maybe you might be running some type of scam, you know what I mean, to take hot shit and sell it to people, you know, legitimized. So you get somebody to come in there, they got something stolen, and then come in there to go rebuy it again to find out what they about to buy. They about to buy it twice because somebody stole it and pawned it off. Okay, so that's a good example of what you would consider to be. Well, you definitely want to do a rescission of contract, but the rescission would be based on fraud. Now, fraud is because it's such a vague term, and a lot of things is fraud. You basically got to break down fraud. So when you go into the courts or an administrator, and on behalf of your claim, you know what I mean, as a witness or bipartisan, to be able to, you know, grant a judgment, the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to look at your contract to say, who was in breach of the contract, right? And how was it breached? So you say fraud, you say, okay, now the next thing after that is how was it fraud? Non-disclosure. Non-disclosure voids a contract. Now, we just talked about the definition of certificate, and I kind of jumped ahead a little bit without giving you a definition, but we're going to go into the definition for certificate, and then in front of that, we're going. I mean, right behind that, we're going to take the definition of what I just said about. I just had a brain fart. Oh my God, man! Somebody put some woo woo on me. Somebody put that woo on me. To not have the consent. There you go. All right. And we'll just say that for right now. It'll come back to me. What is the elements of a certificate? Okay. Let's look at the definition of certificate. Because first of all, you need to know what a certificate is before you can accept it. All right. If you didn't know what a certificate was and the components of a certificate, then you don't know what you got. Okay. That's what a certificate is. Okay. So time of the day. Time of the day. A long day today. All right, certificate, an official document attesting a certain fact. Okay, so when you get a certificate and you graduate from school, all right, like say you did 4 years of Harvard or whatever, all right, you come out of there, you got a certificate. Say they forget to sign that junk, then what? You ain't got a certificate, it's not valid. It's not valid without a signature or a seal, is it? This is a blank piece of paper. So then you go back and say, wait a minute, I walked all the way home, walked down the aisle, threw my cap up, looked down there, and they forgot to sign it. I ain't got my name on this junk. You know what I'm saying? They ain't put no seal on it. They just gave me a blank ass piece of paper. Now, what makes it valid or verified, a verified document, is attesting to the facts. So now when they go back, you go back to the counselor. They put say, oh, we apologize. They, severely, sincerely, we apologize. Blah blah blah, whatever, right? So just coming up with a scenario. So you go back and they sign that certificate. You put your name where your name is supposed to go, and you put a seal on it. Now it is what? Attesting a certain fact that you did what? You did 4 years. You got a degree in 4 years, right? So you forget it. You finished the degree of whatever that information is, a degree of knowledge, right? So once you get your degree, okay, that certificate proves that you did 4 years of school, right? So other than the transcripts from school, there's no way anybody can say that you went to. You say, I went to school and did 4. I can just sit up here right now and be like, hey man, I did 4 years of law school, right? Creek running water. Now that's a goddamn lie until you see some proof. So you need something that's attesting that that's a fact, and you need something that's a certificate. A certificate is proof that something was done. Okay, that's what it is. But it also is attesting a fact, and it's certified with a seal. It's always going to be backed up by a seal. Okay. Provide with or attesting in an official document. So it's going to be an official document. So when you got a certificate of live birth, that's definitely going to be what? An official document. Okay. Now, the other definition I was talking about before that, we said about compliance. See, what voids a contract is going to be, let me see, I'm thinking about it, but I can't think of it already. Okay. What voids a contract? Okay, so an example of that would be child support. Child support itself is a contract. Okay, when your mother, a lot of the mothers or the daughter or whatever, your baby's mama came to you and said, hey man, we need to get some food stamps and we can't qualify nothing. You got to sign this paper so they can get benefits. What they do right there is they have you sign a paternity slip. Okay, you signed it not knowing that you signed the child support. You basically did that. You signed up under the welfare program. Okay, and the welfare program, they make the father the donor. Okay, so basically you pledging your wealth to this baby as a donor because they create a trust, right? And it's express trust. Okay, and expression. We talked about expression, right? They get your information, they put it in there, and your acceptance, and then you put it in there. Now, the only thing would void that contract is they did not explicitly tell you the terms of the agreement. They just had you sign something and make you think something else. You had your mind thinking, okay, we need to get this for food stamps. Didn't think nothing else of it, right? Not knowing that when you read the fine line, it also tells you that you can be charged and even incarcerated for groups of payments for missing something. Okay, they make those the terms of the agreement. You just agreed to go to jail, miss a payment. Okay, you just agreed to that. Now, just come to find out, later on, he's like, wait a minute, there's something about that. You know what? Let me go back and read that shit. I didn't read it, I just signed it. Let me go back and read it. Then you find out in small print that, they didn't even express that, didn't sign it. They just gave you a pen, you signed it out of duress, out of course, right? You know what I mean? And you can do that out of duress. You know what I mean? They tried to, here, just sign it. Here, you're going to get food stamps. Like, but then a lot of times they'll hold their hand on the paper and then give you the pen if you notice that. Like banks do it too. They'll hold the document and then you say, well, hey, can I just read over and say, okay, fine, yeah. And they'll get up, walk out of the room almost all the time. And then they go somewhere far away just to look and see what you read or if you read. So, because what they do is they create a distraction to see right where you went in there because they don't want you to see the deception. That's why they got up from the table and walked away from the first place because they already know you about to sign your life away. They know it. Same thing with the mortgages, right? Okay. So, but then, the only thing that would get you out of that as a contract once you sign it, okay, would be to non-disclosure. But that was what I was looking for, non-disclosure. They failed to disclose the terms of the agreement for the contract, okay, and they for whatever reason why they may have been coerced or it might have been duress or or some type of threat to sign like jail. They threaten you. You better sign it. We're gonna break your arms. And then we're going to take your arm and sign it for you. Okay, that's a threat. Okay, nobody make you sign under threat, duress, of course. Okay, that's just not supposed to happen like that. That's no one. It avoids a contract also. Okay, So these are some of the things that void a contract. So they basically trick you in acceptance. And I myself was, fortunate enough to get out of child support, and I using the same method. So it does work. I had to deal with the judge. I sat across there with my kid's mother. I wrote him a letter, and I wrote the letter not knowing all this right here. And I just was taking swings, and I just knocked him out swinging, because I just kept throwing whatever I threw, and I didn't even know what hit him. I didn't know which punch it was that knocked him out. But now, looking back on the past and seeing now, it was my non-consent to the approval process or something that I didn't know of. I told him, it was against my deepest moral. Excuse me, I have a hard time talking now. My deepest morals conviction. It was against my morals. Okay, deep. I used the word deep. I'm trying to figure out how I used it, but I know it's like deep. My deep something morals convicted. Blah blah blah. I'm using legalese type talking, and basically, it was just that simple. Right? I sent the affidavit, sent it to him in a letter form. I sent a formal letter before that, and the next thing I know, I got a letter in the mail saying that, hey, your kid's mother, we dropped the case. That was it. We dropped the case. And they said I had to pay no more unless, either I or the kid's mother went down there to protest it, and then they would look into the case again. But anyway, I didn't have to pay child support. I try to tell people too, man. It's like they thought, you must have been retarded or something. Like maybe you dumb or something. You can't pay. Imagine that. I got a degree and I'm dumb. But anyway, that's what happened. So non-consent voids a contract. So because they didn't tell your mother that she was selling you as a ward to the state, okay, that would indeed void the contract. Okay. However, there is a benefit in having the birth certificate. Of course, it unlocks, it allows you, it affords you certain benefits because it gives you an account. You can play the game of commerce using letters of credit. Okay, and once you have properly accepted for value the certificate of live birth, and because it is monetized, you see that it can be monetized. It's on bond. It's printed on bond paper. Being able to transfer the interest in a vessel. Okay, how do you transfer interest in a vessel? Void contract definition. Okay. I want to leave some information up here before we go into transfer interest in a vessel. Okay, so we're gonna void a contract out with what not considering. What did I just say, y'all? Just had it up here. Let me see. Just give me a second. Let me look for the link I was looking for. I was looking for something specifically. Void contract. Okay, let me go do that. All right, put some information up here. How do you void a non-disclosure agreement? Number one, how to determine the NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Read the duration clause. Good NDAs will have two different terms of duration. Number two, read the determination clause. Okay, they will have different terms that say you can terminate the contract. Like say you buy cable, you can terminate it, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's not what it is. 3 ways to get out of a non-disclosure agreement. A non-disclosure agreement is a contract between two parties where one or both agree to keep some specific information confidential. As with any contract, a non-disclosure agreement can be legally broken or ended. For example, the agreement might be legally enforceable, which cause you can break which case you can break it I don't twist my mouth to talk like that. You know, these white folks, right? Okay. For example, the agreement may not be legally enforceable, in which case you can break it because you'll win a lawsuit. Alternatively, go my country accent coming out. Okay. Alternatively, you might negotiate with the other party to end the agreement early. I'm tripping. Pardon me, I'll say people like that. Analyze your situation to find a method that works best with you. Okay? Either that was pretty lame, basically saying the same thing, but they use non-disclosure as relinquishing information that should have been not told within the contract. But more specifically, when you don't disclose the terms of the agreement, is what I should have put non-disclosure. What I should have said is failure to disclose. Failure to disclose. Oh, okay. Does a closing date? Okay, let's talk about mortgage. See, the mortgage is one of those examples. It's a very damn good example. When you sign a mortgage, what happens? They don't tell you that you're signing a service agreement for a whole nother contract that makes you a donor. You had the house from the minute of the time you signed it. And as soon as you sign that service contract, you just pledged your property as security for the debt. So if the debt doesn't get paid, guess what they take? Your house. Just got it. As soon as they told you, oh, you approved, you got your house. You was already paid for. Then they turn around and say, hey, well, we need you to play this game over here with us. Like, yeah, that really is already done, but they try to merge two things to come together to make it seem like it was one thing. In closing, you had two contracts. You signed more paper than that, but you only had two contracts. Everything is a dog and pony show. They're going to have you sign all these other attorney fees, you know, the attorney or the title coverage to make sure that, you know, okay, you could have had all that on just one piece of paper instead of having, here, sign this, sign that. It's just to throw you off. Okay, and they knew people back then wasn't that stupid, so they had to kind of throw you off and come up with a bunch of distractions. So you see that the process of buying a house is almost similar to everywhere you go, right? They're going to give you a shuffle a bunch of paper, and then they're going to say, okay, well, congratulations, you just approved the house. Now, right after that, they're going to give you a service agreement or a service contract to pay for a debt for 30 years, which is to securitize the house. They make the house a security. Okay, it's almost like playing a game of dice. Okay, like you go to a game of dice, it's crap table, and they say, hey, all right, now you got the house, let's go celebrate. But you got that house, man. You want to take that house and bet it? And your dumb ass say, yeah, I'll bet the house on it. Okay, cool. But if you lose, man, guess what? You got to keep paying this money. Who does that? I see you don't know that because what? They didn't disclose the information of the contract or the terms of the agreement. Failure to disclose the contract or the terms of the agreement would void a contract because they did what? Use deception, trickery, bribery in order for you to sign it. If you had known that you already had your house, okay, before you even signed that additional contract, okay, during the time of closing, okay, with a servicer that bought the security for the house. Once they took the security, they took the deed and securitized it. The deed is what is the paper that says, oh, I'm sorry, not the deed, the promissory note. The promissory note is what bought the house. You gave them a promissory note, which was no more than a Federal Reserve note with instructions on it, right? So you gave them a note, they took the note, took control of the note, sold it off. Now, in order to eliminate the fraud, they wouldn't give you a deed to say that you part owner into the house, but technically you don't own the whole thing no more. You know why they don't own it? Because right after that, they're going to give you a mortgage and say, well, you don't own it yet, and then give you the mortgage and make you pay 30 deals and then pay the monthly bills, pay the mortgage fees, right? But really, the mortgage is fraud. It's fraud. What you paying on was a service agreement, okay? And that had nothing to do with the house. Nothing. You already had a house. Now, the reason why you don't own it ain't because they got a mortgage on a lien on it. It's because they sold the note. So you're supposed to get your note and make copies of everything and closure. Okay, I helped somebody do this, and then even though he went past the 3 days, truth in lending. Okay, we went in. I went into the the documentation, the paperwork, because it was less than 3 years. They have an act that will allow you to go back and suspend the contract due to disclosure because they did not give you the notification of which would be considered to be a discharge, right? So they're saying that you had the right to discharge the debt or discharge the house without having to pay the note. Having to pay the mortgage, right? And you can go in the Tiller Act and find that in the appendix page. It's in the appendix, okay? And basically, it's just a service agreement. I'm sorry. It's a I can't think of what the name of it is right now. But let's keep it moving because I don't want to stay stuck on trying to convince y'all because this is something I did. It was quite a while ago. It was about almost a year. Guy's been in his house for about 1.5 years now, going on 2 years. So it was about almost 2 years ago when I did this last, and then I did it one time before that also. Both of them were fighting foreclosures. One of them had a week before going to foreclosure. He had all this stuff packed up right by the house, and it was a sheriff. They actually she got a notification from the sheriff that said they were going to put it up in sale, and then they had less than 30 days. She came to me, had 2 weeks left, and she's still in the house to this day. It's been about 4 years now, 5 years, or 5 years ago. Anyway, this is really pretty much a consultation, but it does have a lot to do with contracts because that's how you get out of a contract. Now, how does that relate to a lot of people? Now, I have been getting these slew of people calling me, talking about, hey, listen, I'm in jail, but our cousin's in jail, or whatever the situation is. How do I get out? Well, you signed. When you went to jail, you gave them a fingerprint. Okay, that's property. You also gave them, it's going to be implied. It could be expressed or implied either or, because if you don't go, then they're going to lock your ass up because they feel like they have jurisdiction over you. And you being a 14th Amendment citizen is the whole reason why it all plays into you being a ward of the state. Since they didn't tell you that, okay, that they have you attached to a contract, okay? The certificate of live birth is proof that you're a member of an organization called the United States under Title 28, Section 3002, 15, Big A. It will tell you United States without America is a federal corporation, association, a company, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So you made yourself a member. Now, when you graduated or when you became a citizen, they gave you a certificate, right? Certificate of naturalization, certificate of live birth. Same thing, okay? So now you got to prove and you transfer the interest into a vessel. Now, transferring the interest into a vessel is the next step of what you should be doing. Okay, you should be taking that certificate and transfer it into the name of the person who is entitled to operate in the capacity of either a trustee or will be the grantor, right? Not the beneficiary, right? So they automatically put you in a beneficiary a citizen is a beneficiary, right? So you want to take yourself out of that capacity. Make yourself the owner, which would be, the beneficial owner. And upon doing so, your status will change and your standing will change, okay, automatically, because you're not in the beneficiary 14th Amendment citizen capacity no more. You went from that to it's like getting a pay rate or a upgrade or going or moving up in the ranks. If you're not a private or if you're not a debt seaman, depending on what branch of service you're in, you're going to go up to the next one. You're going to get stripes. Okay, so a beneficiary has, without a doubt, has a lot of a beneficiary benefit. You have a lot of things that you take and receive on behalf of an acceptance, right? When you're making an acceptance of a contract, okay, or when you got the benefit was the value, okay, which we didn't get into that part. We touched on the value, but we didn't go all the way in. So The value, the only thing that makes the thing value is that you got what you want, they got what they wanted, everybody's happy, and it had to be something that was of value in order to exchange. The exchange that you had to have value, some type of value in there. So that's part of the ingredients of a contract. Okay, to accept something on behalf of the value, right? So you got to be able to see what the value is, what your capacity is, who you are, and who these people are. Like when you do a title search with the house, do a title search for these people. Find out, do a background on them and see how many houses they foreclosed in before you sign your name on one to get the foreclosed and see what they, they may be trying to hijack you and pull a fast one on you like they did all the other clients before that. Okay, so these are some of the things you need to do. But anyway, this is class. We know we consider this to be class, so I'm gonna do a little teaching with that. Other than that, we're gonna break off this a little bit and go into more on what makes you think you don't need to do a decoration. Okay, a lot of people right now, like we just talked at the very beginning of the segment, we talked about how a lot of people don't consider themselves or consider us to be Aboriginal. They think that it's a bunch of malarkey, right? That you're not Aboriginal, you're from Africa. Okay, so I got the open panel open. We ain't gonna be on long, y'all. If y'all don't get on, that's cool, because I got some food waiting for me. I'll be able to get out. I don't be saying in no bad way, man. Y'all know I walk in the light, man. I'm just real. So it's just what it is. I love all the family. High vibrations to the family, man. I love all of y'all. But when it's time to put something in my stomach, it's time to grow. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't ate all day. I've been working hard, man. Don't deserve a little time off, man. Definitely, because it's past that time. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to let's see what we got up here. Let me take this off the screen here. Stop sharing. We got Thunderbird in the building. Peace to the guy. What's up, brother? Thunderbird, you on the platform. What's up, baby? Talk Aboriginal. Okay. You probably fell asleep waiting on me to get through talking. Peace to the guy. HHENT Entertainment 707. Peace to the guy. Brother made it at Creek. Wouldn't we have? Let me see. Wouldn't we have to be in correct status before we exercise the promissory note? That's correct. You wouldn't need to be established. Like I just said, I really just answered that. But let me highlight the answer. Yeah, you need to become established. You don't want to be in the capacity of the beneficiary and be restricted to just that. You have to be able to be on behalf of the beneficiary, because they're calling your beneficiary status a corporation. Okay, so if they're deeming that to be a corporation, a person meaning, a legal person is going to be a non-human corporation or an entity. Okay, bearing your name, but only by title. Okay, that title is going to exist on what? The certificate of live birth. So once you take the certificate and transfer the interest in a vessel, now I'm going to share my screen again. What is transferring the interest into a vessel? What is that? Huh? What does that mean to transfer interest into a vessel? What does that mean to transfer into interest in the vessel? That Title 46. Title 46, 31306, Section A, B, and C, D, right? I think it's Section A. Title 46. What does it say about transferring interest in the vessel? Actually, it's B. Title 46, Section 31306, B. Actually, it's A. I'm sorry. I said B. I misquoted that. It's my time to quit. It's quick time, y'all. I've been going hard all day. Okay. 31306, Declaration of Citizenship. What does it say in the Declaration of Citizenship term? It says an instrument. We just talked about an instrument is a what? It's an executed written document. Okay, execution means to what? Carry out. Okay, and anytime a component of an instrument or a legal instrument is what? A certificate, a deed. Okay, a mortgage. All right, a bill. Okay, letter of credit. Those all, because they're monetized. They all have something to do with money. So of course you need to change your status because it tells you before you even get into Article 3. This is 46 by itself. It says to transfer interest into a vessel. All right. So what is an instrument? What is a legal instrument? Not a flute, not a horn. I want to hear that. What is a legal instrument? A legal instrument. Okay, the legal. I said is a legal term of art that is used for anything formally what? Executed written document. Okay. So it's got to be something in writing, right? Now, when you go down here to the examples, you read down here, what does it say in the examples down there? First thing that comes with is a certificate. I'm done. Listen, I just brought you here so you can see it. I don't want you to say I said it. I want you to see it for yourself so you can read it and say it for yourself. Okay? I don't want you to say Creek said it. I want you to see it and read it for yourself. Examples include what? Certificate, deed, bond, contract, will, legislative act, notarial act, court, writ, or process. Any law passed by a competent legislative body in municipal, domestic, or international law. Okay? And we know the UCC deals with international law. Okay? It's international. Okay? Examples of that is certificate. So when we go back to what a legal instrument is and use certificate, I didn't say it, they said it, right? Going back and read that, it makes sense. It says when an instrument or when a what? Certificate is transferred in an interest. Now, what certificate did you got? What other certificate did you got they could be talking about? Huh? Okay, certificate. We got that part. Transfer, you know that. That's without even saying. Okay, transfer means from my hand to your hand or from somebody's hand to your hand. Okay, so it got transferred from one hand to another in this certificate, okay, with interest. What is interest? That's a business term. Huh? Come on, man. Y'all talk Aboriginal to me, man. Come on, man. Come on now. Got back and forth and this and that and everything else now, you know. Let's keep it 100 now. I'm bringing out the information. Y'all want me to bring the information? No problem. You know what I'm saying? Then you're going to sleep in class. Then you get to the part that's in, it's like at the good part of the preaching and shit towards the end, you wake up, yeah, and you're excited because you're ready to get the hell up out of there. The long ass, boring ass preaching, no AC in there, you know what I'm saying? Baptist church and shit, with windows open. Motherfuckers got the hymns and shit, blowing, you know what I mean, with hot air and shit with the fan. I came up around that time. Maybe I ain't did that. I did that. Maybe I'm the only one to do it. All right. So the interest is a monetary charge for privilege of what? Borrowing money. Okay. Did they say, what is the definition of borrowing money? What is that? What did they say when that term? What is that term that they use when they say borrowing money? Huh? Because you gave the promissory note when you had during the time of closing, you gave them money. They just said they borrowed it. They didn't steal it. He said, we just borrowed it. You gave it to us. You did give it to them. You didn't know no better. Why? They didn't tell you. You didn't tell you why. Because it was what? Non-disclosure. Okay. There is some non-disclosure in a mortgage, but more specifically, they failed to disclose the information. Is what I meant to say. Okay. They failed to disclose the information. They didn't tell you what you were signing to and what was really going on. That's illegal. They ain't supposed to do that. They're supposed to catch them on fire. They say the failure of disclosure. The best ways to borrow money, okay, I'm not trying to go into the long read. Okay, whatever the reason to have to borrow money, professional financial options are many and varied nowadays. They range from traditional financial institutions like banks, credit unions, and give you an example of places where you go to borrow money, right? So they give you money, and money's not yours. Okay, cool. Let's borrow money. All right. Now, but when you talk about more specifically interest, okay, what does it say interest can also refer to? Okay. Am I on the panel? Okay, I'll go ahead and read. Interest can also refer to amount of ownership. Okay, so that's what it is. Interest is what? The amount of ownership. A stockholder. Two words that you need to be familiar with: ownership and stockholder. Okay, so when you're a stockholder, you have ownership.